All right, and so we'll go ahead and get started here. And this is for you guys who are probably pretty experienced with the E-rate process and everything. So we just want to kind of go over some what's new, refreshers, updates, and things like that. And so we'll get started, and this will be recorded and put on our website on the training tab as well. All right, and today we're just going to kind of go over the admin window, just some refreshers on category 1 and 2, some reminders, what's new, what's next, and then just a brief refresh as well of our resources and everything where you can go in the future. And so as of right now, the admin window is open for updates. So if you guys can go in and update your addresses, verify everything's right with your addresses, phone numbers, codes, all the users, etc. Please do not update your student counts yet until we send out that file, should be in December. And we are asking, even if you do not file, to please make sure that you update all of these numbers when you receive the file. That way everything is updated for us as a state level. And if you do wait until the 471 window closes, that's too late, so just make sure you fill everything out when the editing window is open.
Yeah, so just
all right, I'm going to hand it over to Sue to talk about category 1.
Thanks, Adam. Just a little clarification with the admin window. The numbers that you have for your student counts and things like that affect our applications for internet service. So we really do need that you have those numbers updated. I apologize if I'm coming across softly. There may be something wrong with my laptop's microphone right now. So as a reminder for everyone that does file category 1, if you have a WAN, so your larger school districts that have WANs, you do need to file a 471 each year. If your WAN contract is expiring on June 30th, 2022, you need to file a 470. You need to file it soon. According to your local procurement rules, you may also need to file an RFP. USAC considers any addition to the 470 an RFP, even if it isn't formal. So if you send out an email to folks about what you're looking to get out of your WAN, you know, what speeds and feeds, numbers of schools and things, that is part of an RFP. Write your narrative up in a Word document and attach it to the 470, then it's an RFP. RFPs and 470s should be ready to file together. Remember, 470 has to be open for 28 days. Slide, please. Them.
Nope. Okay.
So what is it that you need when you're preparing your 470 RFP for your WAN? Number of sites, speeds, any incremental growth that you might have in the coming school year. If you know, you're bringing on a lot more online curriculum, you might need additional bandwidth. Are any of your schools closing? Are you opening any new ones? Are you setting up any annexes? What are your terms and conditions? If you're looking to get optional extensions, you might sign on for a 3-year contract and have 2 additional 1-year voluntary extensions. What your evaluation factors are going to be. You don't have to put in the points and percentages, but you know, familiarity with your school district, cost. You know, remember, cost needs to be there as your greatest pricing factor, greatest weighted factor. You know, really the things that you need to be comfortable with the selection you make for your WAN. And all of this, it needs to be in your 470/RFP. As I mentioned, 470s need to be open for 28 days, and price must have the greatest weighted factor, which basically means if you've got 4, factors, price has to be 26%. Okay, it doesn't have to be 50, it doesn't have to be 76, it has to be 26 or better. Make sure you keep very detailed notes when you're evaluating your different bids and assigning the points, because we'll have to provide that should you get a PQA or even during the peer review. Make sure you also keep track and filed away all winning and losing bids. Next slide. When you have chosen your vendor for solution, make sure you have your contracts that all together. You've got the terms, the extensions, the ability to be flexible if you have to close or open a site during the school year, and the ability to increase speeds. You don't want to get caught with just a 1 gig connection to your high school, and then realize that you need to get it to 2 gig, and now you have to come across and pay for that extra gig. If you need board approval, pay attention to the board award date. Once you have signed the contract and you have your board approval and all those things, you'll want to upload all of that into the EPIC contract module. There is a how-to slide on our webpage so that you can update that module and put that contract there. You do need that contract before you file your 471. For those of you that are not upgrading your WANs or doing any of that work this year, you still need to file your 471, and you'll reference the contract that you uploaded when you first started using it. Next slide.
All right. And so in a quick overview for Category 2, so as a reminder, 470 is not required if you use the North Carolina DPI State Master contracts. And these are the following items that are required to do your DPI fund match, and that is the mini bid, letter of intent, and the 471. So those are required in order to use the DPI master contracts so that we can provide you with the matching of your undiscounted portion. And if you can check on our website, that has the latest version of the mini bid spreadsheet and the contracts, vendors, etc. So, obviously in the world, the contacts for a lot of these vendors do change. So make sure that you head on over to our website to make sure you have the latest version when you begin this process for funding year 2022. And another good thing to check is your Category 2 budget and how much you have used last year and how much you have left. And there is a link on our website, and if you use this hyperlink in the slide deck from our website, it takes you right directly to that Category 2 budget tool. And we recommend starting thinking in your mind about what you want to do for your projects for the funding year 22 now. That way you are planning ahead and thinking in your mind what it is that you want to do. And also, we're going to note this in each of our trainings, the survey from Ray Zeiss, if you could fill that out by January 10th and put your intended projects on that, that's good for us, but also it's good to start early, especially with the nature of back orders and everything right now, just to kind of get started in your mind and get that piece ready to go. And we are doing next week, on the 17th, is the 2-part training on the mini bids and Category 2. If you want to attend that, there's going to be a USAC training from 3 to 4 p.m. and the information on how to sign up for that through USAC is on our training page. And then we will be holding a training at 4 o'clock until 5 p.m. and to register for that, they are 2 separate registrations. So if you want to go ahead and just go through and get signed up for those, they are 2 separate ones. And just a few other reminders. Make sure that you guys are responding to all PIA questions as quickly as possible. The longer you wait, the longer it takes to slow down funding, and it just takes a lot longer, so make sure you do those as much as possible. And another reminder that your 486 must be filed following the receipt of your funding commitment decision letter for each filing year. And just as a time period, the PRCs to districts and charters don't go out until September or October of next school year, so 2022 of the school year, depending on when the budgets are being set for the whole state. And just another hit home here is your document retention. Keep everything. Be a digital hoarder. You have to keep this information for 10 years, and just make sure that you keep everything, your winning bids and your losing bids, your email communications, everything. Keep everything. And another thing we suggest is not to be the only one with access to that documentation. If you guys have Google, put it in some kind of team drive. If you have Microsoft 365, definitely put it somewhere where other people can access it. And even if you want to make a backup copy once a month of it, just to keep it in case someone goes in and edits something that may not be right, keep a backup of it. Because if you are audited, I was not here then, unfortunately, is not an excuse for the FCC. So if you just came into a role and you're getting audited from 4 filing years ago, unfortunately, if you don't know, that's unfortunately doesn't work for them. So if you guys are, these are experienced folks, so just remember that. But even if, for example, someone in your district new may be taking this over and you're going to be passing the torch eventually, just make sure to remember that you get them as up to speed as possible as well. And as far as what's new, just that's our training right there to register there. We're going to be coming out with some supply chain audit information hopefully soon. Sue, I don't know if you want to touch on that a little bit.
So what the supply chain audit is all about, back in 2019, the federal government determined that there were some manufacturers of super high-end head-end, we'll call it, equipment in the telecommunications space. Now this equipment was made by specific manufacturers overseas that, we'll just put it this way, didn't play nice with the U.S. So those manufacturers, those products have been deemed, you know, do not use federal money to buy them. You know, if you're a private business and you want to use them, that's fine. So what these audits really are going to be are for schools and libraries that have been using the E-rate program that may have purchased services from their internet provider or from a WAN provider that might have this equipment in their head end. So they may have put a Hawaii router in your data center. You know, if you're one of the larger school districts like the, you know, Charlotte Meck or Wake, or, you know, those folks. Basically, that's what they're looking at. I spoke with Mike Ramsey this morning to kind of confirm some questions that I had regarding that. And he's pretty confident, like a, you know, Ivory Snow 99 and 4400%, that none of the schools in the state of North Carolina should have to worry about this. However, he's also reached out, and the other branches that we work with, MCNC and DTL, and all the folks in DPI, have reached out to the telecom providers that we have been doing business with and had done business with to make sure that none of this equipment does exist. And again, Ivory Snow, we're pretty confident that none of us in the state should receive these audits, but we are going to put together, you know, a full document, be it a PowerPoint or a, you know, just a, this is what you know, might happen. They're not auditing everybody that may have had this equipment. They're selectively choosing across the country, across publics, districts and charters, urban and rural, so that they're sure that they're getting snapshots to see what is the breadth and depth of this type of exposure. Like we have here on the slide, we will put something together, and once we have gotten it all, you know, every I dotted and T crossed, it'll be on our webpage, and we'll be updating you through our, you know, bi-weekly newsletter, bi-monthly newsletter.
Awesome, thanks. And then just another kind of what's new a reminder as well. For your 498, if you have not done so, that is with your banking information. we would definitely recommend doing so, and Sue, correct me if I'm wrong on this. If you are doing the ECF bears, that is the big requirement for this if you did not do bears in the past. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
because of our relationship that we do everything through State Master Contract, and we also manage your internet services. And the telco providers in the state do SPI billing. 99% of you have not ever had to file a bear. The 498 is necessary to file a bear because they, the federal government or USAC need to know where to deposit the money. So what we've been recommending to folks is, file your 498. Your chief financial officer will be the person who will have all that information. You may need to create a user ID for them in Epic because it is a special set of rights. It'll actually say filing for Form 498. Yep, that's the one you want to give them. And it's just in the event that something were to happen that you had to file a bear, that 498 is an absolute requirement. So if you have the time, I know you all have nothing better to do, try and get that form filed.
Thanks. All right, just a quick what's next. Again, we're a couple training dates here. They're on our training page. We've gone over them a couple times, and just a quick overview of those. They're on our website as well. There's, of course, a list of our resources. And if anyone has other questions, I'm going to read out a couple that were in here and then just put them in the chat and we can reach out. And so for the admin window, Sue, is closing a building part of the update that our folks would do during this open window process?
Yeah, so any closures or openings, that's what you basically want to keep an eye on, because when you're filing your 471s, you're either going to have to go through the entire list and say only certain entities are getting this equipment. Like as an example, if you're buying new switches for all of your schools, you're going to have to go in and say, nope, everyone but this school. So if you're closing a school and funding your 22, now is the time to, put that notification in. I believe you'll have to work with the Client Service Bureau on that. The same thing for opening. So yeah, that's a good question. You will need to update those entities.
All right, and yes, just as a quick reminder to everyone as well, we will be sending any submitted numbers in that state master file during the month of December. So we will be sending your updated information then.
Adam had alluded to some of the resources that we have available for everyone, some things that have changed. They're not necessarily new, but they're changed. We have updated our E-rate handbook. So we have the 2022 versions there. We've added some additional information. I'm not sure, Adam, if you want to share that.
Yep.
We've also put in a new tab predominantly for charters, and most specifically new charters. Charter schools, come on board within the state and are pretty much like, here you go, welcome aboard. Here's all the things you need to do for education. Here's all the things you need to do for finance. Here's all the things you need for transporting your students. And oh, by the way, if you want internet service, call these people, which is us. So we did update our handbook. It has all the latest links and information as they've been updated. There's been some information that was old. We've removed it. So as an example, you won't find any reference to telephony any longer. We did add a couple of forms for folks so that they know how to go through that process. I did learn today that one of the links is not working, but it really just affects new charter schools. So we'll be taking care of that. And another resource that we've changed recently since, and it all coincided with Adam coming on board, we have updated our website. We are now, we have a new URL. The old one still works, so don't get nervous that, wait a minute, let me write this down. But in our partnership with the Friday Institute, we have built and redesigned and refreshed our webpage. We have tried to regroup things in a way that makes sense. So where some of the things you would look, you might find it under training and resources. No, if it's training, it's training. ECF training, 2021-22 training, that's what's there. As training gets replaced, we take the old link and move it under an archive. We've updated the resources and tried to make them uniform. So instead of a resource one time replacing the page you're on and take with new information, it'll open a new tab all the way across. Every single one of those links will do that, so you don't have to go back and reload the web page. A lot of valuable information. We really are making a single repository of our documentation, of our slide decks, of our trainings, of the news briefs that we receive from USAC and the FCC, just trying to keep you, go to one spot. You don't have to fish around all over the place to look for things. The links that are in the handbook are the same links that are in our webpage. So again, if we update it where it's being stored, we don't have to, oh, that's right, we have to fix it all these other places. For those of you that are used to the handbook versus used to the website.
Yep. And the handbook itself, if you go to the resources tab, here I'll go right to the home page. Resources, handbook, and documents. And that has last year's, if you wanted to look back, but this year's handbook's right here. And like Sue had mentioned, I've tried to go through and make sure that all the links you click open a new tab so that you can get right in here and all the links are kind of together. Category 2 information is right there. Our training tab has upcoming, and then once we do a training, you can go back and view the slide decks and the recordings, and that should, I think, about cover it. If anyone else has any questions, if you could put them in the chat right now, or I'm not sure if there's a all mute button. I apologize.
If they want to chat.
If there is an all button, I'm not sure where it is. But I think if that's it, Sue, I think I apologize for the mic issues, but hopefully you guys got everything you needed. If not, me, Sue, and Roxy are here for you with any questions, and we will be keeping the binder and the website up to date. And so you'll be able to find everything you need there, and we're here for you. So if that's nothing else, we won't keep you any longer on this Wednesday. And thank you for being here with us, and we will talk to you next time. All right, thank you.